Hello and welcome to Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist podcast. My name is Connor McKenna.
I'm Rebecca Hart.
I'm Karl.
You can probably all find us and stalk us on Facebook because we're not using aliases. Apparently that's a thing in podcasting. People don't give out their real names.
Yeah,
all the time.
I can understand. It did feel a bit weird when I was on another podcast this week and they put my surname and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that.
Right.
But we've
Although
done
we
it
do
so
it every week.
We
here,
do it every week, yes. So, it would seem like a bit weird to suddenly not do it here, but I do think that there is a reason why you might not want to give your full name, but I don't know.
Yeah. That hasn't bitten me in the bottom at all, really.
No, not me yet either. I guess that's why I'm kind of fine with it.
Yeah. But anyway, that aside, Iron Fist news, there is none, but there is a David Aja variant got announced for Heart of the Dragon coming out next year, which is very exciting. We will obviously be covering that as it comes out. We will be on that like vultures, searching for meat in the vast desert of Iron Fistlessness. But yeah. And what else? Oh, that's right. So that show was about Warrior, good martial arts show. There's a petition running around. If you watch the show, go check it out. Or if you want the show to get another season, because it's one of those things where it ended because Cinemax cancelled the show among all the other shows, and it's like not, it's not really ended. Like the story hasn't ended, and it's quite frustrating. So, hopefully,
go sign the petition.
And if you like, the whole marketing shtick of the show is like, it was based on like a Bruce Lee thing, and the main character's like a Bruce Lee thing. So if you like Bruce Lee, go check it out as well. It should fill that niche of, nunchucks. Yeah, that. He doesn't make those noises, but he does everything else. So, but yeah, other than that, so we're here today covering two issues from a really great Deadpool run, actually, that we've mentioned a couple of times before. Poston and Dugan's Deadpool run in 2013, Deadpool Volume 3 to be precise. Great run. I feel it's, in terms of a long run for Deadpool, it's second only to Joe Kelly's run.
Yeah, I love it. It's probably my favorite, but then it was the first time I really read Deadpool regularly.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. So, and these two issues do heavily feature, they guest star Power Man and Iron Fist. We didn't just choose these two Deadpool issues for no reason. So, in fact, this is our second Deadpool outing because we did have Deadpool in the Iron Fist in the Deadpool team-up issue, which was good, and Deadpool is also in the 90s Heroes for Hire series for a few issues.
Yeah.
So these are issues 13 and 14. So, let's see. Deadpool issue 13 was... so the cover artist was Chris Anka, writer was Brian Poston and Jerry Dugan, penciler Scott Koblish. Yep. Anchor Scott Koblish, colorist Val Staples, letterer Joe Sabino, and editor Jordan D. White, and editor-in-chief Axel Alonso, blah, blah, blah. Who cares about the editor-in-chief? So we have a groovy cover, talking jive and taking lives. We have Deadpool with the afro.
It's such a good cover. It really is.
Yeah, it's a real kind of funky, like, blaxploitation cover from, the 70s, like a movie poster or something. This whole issue set in the 70s. It's a throwback to the old Power Man and Iron Fist run, and there's lots of neat little things there. And it's great timing for us to be covering this, thanks to Karl, because we've been knee-deep in this run, waist deep, head deep in this run for a while. So, yeah, you guys, what are your thoughts on the cover?
Good stuff.
I love the cover.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, it's just very eye-catching.
It is. Yeah. It's great. And,
If you stare at the cover too long, you can actually hear the brown.
Yeah, I mean, I had different music playing because I was just playing some music that I needed to listen to for some other thing. But then it's like the funk just takes over in my head, reading this issue. It's just, what's that song? No, I can't remember. Anyway, it's a disco song. But, so I'm just, I wanted to thank our patrons too, because I just realized it's been a month since our last episode. Oh yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had a big test coming up, so I wasn't doing anything. I bowed out on all my podcasts, but I'm back now. So
By test, he means driving.
a driving test. What? Is that you trying to make fun of my supposed age?
Supposed?
What
It's not supposed. You're in your 20s.
Yeah, I'm 28. Why would I have a driving test when I'm 28?
Because you're going to finally afford a car.
No, I don't think I could afford one, actually.
It's not my fault. Australian money's not worth much, yet everything costs a small fortune.
We were actually talking about that off air, how expensive everything was here and how it's a pretty big problem because everyone in their 20s and 30s is dirt broke all the time. So, yeah, good work. God save the Queen, all that stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to thank our patrons. Aaron Sassy Carl, right here, giving me lip. Thank you, Carl. See, I have to thank Carl. And, I want to thank Carl because without him, I couldn't afford the podcast hosting. But he's just like a jerk every time I try and thank him. And thanks to Ray as well, my co-host on that other podcast and the host of the Moon Knight podcast, Into the Night and Moon Knight podcast, which I'm sure will be quite active. Well, it's always active, but there's that whole Moon Knight show coming out, so go check that out. And Kevin Swanson, good friend of both shows, big Iron Fist fan, big Superman fan, big Silver Surfer fan, and the biggest fan of all of Ben Grimm, The Thing. So thank you as well, and you have a wonderful taste in comic book characters, I might add. And yeah, so thanks guys, thanks patrons. And back to the issue. So good cover, awesome. Yep. Love the way Danny's drawn as well, and Luke. Misty doesn't appear in this issue. If she is one of the girls in the background, they all have afros.
I don't think
so I'm not
so.
sure.
But yeah, she does look like she might be one of the ones in the background.
Yeah. So we have the opening page where Deadpool does this hey, this is a flashback story.
Yeah.
Of my adventure in the 70s and meta commentary on how he wasn't actually around in the 70s, but I guess canonically he was around in the 70s.
Yeah.
Wasn't created then. So Deadpool, Power Man, and Iron Fist. You get the classic font up top, and we have Luke Cage, a child of the streets. Daniel Rand, son of the mystic city of Kunlun. Wade Wilson, government experiment gone wrong. 3 men from different worlds, all reborn with strength and power beyond belief, and together no one can stop them. So it's pretty cool just adding Deadpool to the classic opening. Because this is all pretty accurate. These guys seem to be fans of
oh yeah, for sure. And I love how they make it look like a 70s comic.
Oh yeah.
It's all aged looking paper. It's all got lots of dots in the printing and stuff like that. It's really nice. I want to say
one of the funniest issues I've ever read, if not the funniest, was that, I don't know if you guys have read it, but the Deadpool issue where he goes back in time and replaces Peter Parker in that Spider-Man story from the 60s.
I love time travel, stuff like that. It's so fun.
And I think that was one of the first times it had been done, really. And because when I read that was when I was a massive fan of the Stan Lee and Romita Senior Spider-Man stuff and Steve Ditko. So that issue I had very good knowledge of. I read it a few times. And my favorite gag in the whole thing was because Aunt May was always fainting and she always had serious health problems in the comics, so he sets up this constant scarecrow above her couch, so every time she wakes up, she just faints again and has a spell. And it was just...
It's like Danny having head injuries, really.
Yeah, it was really funny. I'm sure you've read that, Carl, haven't you?
Nope.
All right, well, you should rectify that at some point
That's disgusting.
when you wake up.
Talking about rectums.
Oh.
Anyways.
Yeah, all right, so front page.
Let's talk about the white man.
Yes, the white man. Let's get into this. You guys can get us started on this page while I verify something.
We start with Deadpool in his, like, I guess, bedsit type place we'd call it here. Lots of 70s posters, Equus, ABBA, and he's browsing the paper and he sees an advert for Heroes for Hire and obviously misreads it and thinks they want to hire him, so decides he's going to go and apply, and he's in full flares and afro and on top of his mask, obviously, and gold chains, and off he goes. It's, like, even the paneling is done like old comics, and like it's much wordier than like you'd see now. Yeah. Which I really love. And yeah, he's like going downtown. There's the gem cinema in the background.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about this part is they put it like in Sex Central.
Yeah.
Like old school Smutville, downtown New York, where there was just smut everywhere.
That's where he would be, really.
Yeah, it is.
And there's a prostitute talking to some guy in a Volkswagen saying, "I don't even know what a Hoboken seesaw is." And I don't know what it is either, and I suggest you don't Google it.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I was talking to the listeners, not you two.
Oh, right. Did you look at that newspaper advert? Did you read the text? It was pretty funny. Do you need the services of a chemically altered ex-con and a millionaire orphan? We're here to help. Wanted for a crime you didn't commit? Trouble in Little Tokyo? Looking for a priceless jade tiger statue? Robots attacking your Harlem restaurant? Theater firebombed? We can help. And like, they are all references to stories.
Yeah, which is
was
great.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And stories we've actually covered.
Yeah. So that is nice.
Yeah. But you know, I think the artwork's very good. They're very good at capturing the vintage feel.
And this one's got a lot of detail in. Like, not in every panel. Like, when you get to loads of panels, some of them are a bit backgroundless, but that's very Deadpool. But setting up the environment, like the toilets, there's like graffiti on all the walls and stuff like that. I mean, there's a certain amount of... Anyway, it's just Deadpool being Deadpool and being, you know, getting into fights and beating up a softball team that he thinks are mass villains.
Well, he
let's
thinks
not forget Aunt May chewing him out and macing him in the face.
Yeah.
He gets maced by Aunt May, you know, revenge for all those times he made her faint. And yeah, he thinks this softball team's from the Warriors, and they're like a gang. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Carl's seen that movie.
Of course, I've seen the Warriors.
Yeah. Have you seen it, Rebecca?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a whole gag that'll pay off at the end with that. But he beats them all up, and they're pretty much saying like, we're not a gang, we were just a softball team wearing Kiss makeup to a concert. So it's a horrible coincidence.
It's just so Deadpool.
Yeah. So he crashes the Heroes for Hire. I think because he just wants to work with them, right?
Yeah, he just wants to work with them. He decided it's the 70s and it's time for a team up. 1977, the year, by the way. So when we get to the Star Wars jokes, just to put it in context.
And we have Jenny, I'm assuming, screaming in terror in the background. And you know, they really nailed the way Luke and Danny talk.
Yeah.
This era, I mean, Danny hasn't changed much, to be fair, in the way that he talks, except he's gotten a bit more quippy. But like,
he's gotten a little bit less naive as well, which is as you would expect for someone who's not been in Kunlun for a while to have got a little bit of a sense of what the world is like. Yeah.
Luke's quite angry at Deadpool for busting down their door, and you know, actually, he is interrupting
a consultation.
Yeah, which is another reason that Luke's mad, and
But it's very funny when she's like, my husband's dead, and he's like, and then Luke calls her Mrs. and he said, actually, it's
Yeah.
Mer's husband's dead. It's just so Deadpool. I love it. It's just like, like sometimes Deadpool jokes can be just way too much, but this is like such a show of how this run really gets it. They're
Oh,
just
yeah,
like, they're very irreverent, but they're not always like gross out humor.
They nailed the balance of humor
Mhm.
and like I guess the real dark humor as well, and like just the humor in general, like because I've said before, Daniel Way's run is like awful, and it's just fart jokes and stuff.
Mhm.
There's no actual clever writing, but that was a very funny. I don't know if I call it pun, but like.
Yeah, it's just a funny like observation that most people would not make. Like it's the sort of things you wouldn't say in polite society that Deadpool like kind of has the is allowed to say it. Like you might think it or something, but you wouldn't necessarily say it. But that's very Deadpool. So yeah, and then
what I really love is how like they even have the touch of the colors bleeding.
Yeah, it's so great.
Like I would take a Power Man and Iron Fist revival run from these guys.
God,
I think they do a better job than the other recent one that we covered. But anyway, so here we get the backstory is like, a gang was shaking down her husband for protection money, and their boss, the wise man who Luke
the
goes,
white man.
I think you mean the white man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the white man. And like Deadpool chooses to make the the fight the white man kind of thing. So.
Oh yeah, he does that nearly every time the white man's brought up. He's like, let's not get racial here.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, they've been hearing more about the white man. The white man is no bueno. That's the word on the street. And Deadpool goes, is this all really approved by the comics code?
Which that's actually another joke on how strict it used to be back in the 70s.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly it. It's like it's a nice little reference to the 70s that people nowadays can laugh at.
Yeah, now it's like maybe they need a comics code.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks about her daughter as well. She's worried about her, that she'll make poor decisions and God forbid get knocked up.
Yeah.
The white man's superpowers is being able to infect any blanket with smallpox.
Which is amazing.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's so bad.
And so Deadpool keeps like, hey, yeah, and, let's take the case. And Luke's like, no, you're out in the street. We're taking the case. So Daddy's like, we'll pose as the new owners of your store. And when the white man's gang comes down to shake us down, they'll find themselves in a world of hurt. And Deadpool's like, what should our new teammate do? And I love the faces of Daddy.
They're so angry. It's amazing.
We ain't teammates, brother. Stay out of our way. So he throws Deadpool out of the window, and let's just ignore the fact that he wouldn't know that he has a healing. Oh, no, he probably would. They seem to know him, right?
I think they might.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
But I like as he throws him out, Deadpool saying, teammate.
Yeah.
It's just such a great little visual gag.
We get a Serpico name drop, of course.
Of course.
And I this is probably my favorite detail of this issue is how they nailed like how bad Luke and Danny were at disguising themselves.
Oh, it's just it's terrible. It's like they say they're like undercut, they're deep undercover. They're wearing their costumes with aprons and little hats.
Like the collar's just popping out.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I would expect to see this exact thing in the actual issues. Like, just
yeah, for sure, because that's exactly what would happen.
Very conspicuous.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Daddy looks like such an idiot.
I love it.
Yeah. and Luke stops this kid from shoplifting, doing the old scare tactics.
Yeah.
And we get an introduction to the daughter
The
as well.
beautiful daughter.
Yes.
She's only ever referred to as beautiful daughter.
Yeah, she doesn't have much going for her personality-wise.
She doesn't really have a lot to say. She's just like wearing very little.
Yeah. And then Deadpool bursts in.
Mm-hmm.
Who? Not Deadpool.
Dead Pimp.
Dead.
Yeah.
And now he's got a sort of pimp coat and hat on instead. And some like cool boots.
So the whole thing is like he's doing if they see me shaking you down for their protection money, then they're gonna come even quicker.
Yeah, so they decide to go along with it because they don't have a lot of choice.
Yeah, and you know, like the daughter is charmed by Deadpool as he's whispering to her and the mother. You know, maybe that'll be a thing later, but yes, they have to pretend. So he's making a huge scene.
Yeah.
And Luke has to pretend to take a beating, which is pretty, because he absolutely hates that.
Yeah.
And Danny's charging up the Iron Fist as well, and then he's like...
Then he falls into
we
some
gotta play
oranges.
along.
It's fine.
And it does the whole, you know, you are Daniel Radcliffe, the Iron Fist. You still drawing on your chi, you focus every iota of your being into your hand until it seems to smolder and glow and become a thing of... And then he stops. Yeah, so he runs off with like a bag with a $sign on it. Deadpool, that is.
Yeah.
And then the white man's gang, you know, predictably they intervene. They beat on Deadpool, and he pretty much goes along with it, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You know, then he
Yes.
won because
He's the white man.
Yeah. He really is way too skilled to get taken out by those guys.
And the white man is very funny.
Yeah.
He's just a normal guy who just wears mostly white, a very pink shirt. And
Well,
he's
albino.
Yeah, he's not albino because he's like he doesn't have red eyes and like.
I meant like he's got
His
unnaturally
skin is unnaturally white as well. Everything about him is white. He's got a sort of pimp coat on as well with the sort of like tiger fur.
Yeah.
And then there's like crazy bright pink shirt.
He's like, have you ever heard of the white man? Only in the figurative sense.
Yeah, which is great.
White man, anyone ever tell you that you look that the bad guy in my Nana's Mexican telenovas?
Which is great.
And he has kingpins, well, not literally kingpins, old scepter, but pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like a big cane that has energy.
But then you find out he was gifted it by the Mandarin.
Yeah, which for some reason happened. I can't imagine we don't really get a full backstory for this guy because he's making like counterfeit Mandarin rings.
Yeah, so it's good because you get to make a joke about counterfeit Mandarins and the third Iron Man.
What? Right? Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, so he's like, I'll put them in that room and I'll kill them after they catch their partners, because bad guy logic. And, you know, nobody locks a Deadpool into a tastefully appointed game room with a hot babe.
Yeah, because the beautiful daughter Carmelita is in there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
She's somehow been captured because she was annoying to them.
Yeah,
There was literally no reason except to have her in this room with Deadpool at this moment, which is quite funny.
She's just like, she just takes her clothes off.
Yeah, she's like, oh no, what should we do with our time?
Which I'm just wondering how they raised their daughter at this point. This strange man. She's like, you know what?
But it plays so well off all the exploitation films that it's hilarious.
That's a good point.
I mean, that's I like. There's nothing offensive about it because it's so in keeping with the genre they're sort of pastiching. So
I didn't, because that always really bugged me. I wasn't offended or anything, but I was always just like,
no, but I can imagine
the
comics that it would annoy me in, but this one just made me laugh because it's so clearly a reference to how women were treated in 70s films.
Yeah. So they get it on, and we have so many panels of like really obvious metaphors for what's going on.
Yeah, including a
Um,
cat o' nine tails whip
I was just and the,
and the
like you
Kama
have
Sutra,
the golf the golf ball, the Kama Sutra, and then
a beaver.
Suffice to say, it ends with a literal volcano exploding.
Yeah.
If it couldn't get any less subtle.
Yeah, train going into a tunnel. It's all the exactly. But it's a
rocket
work of
tankers,
art. It's
yeah.
so funny.
And then Luke Cage bursts in, "Sweet Christmas! I remember I knew you were a creep." He's horrified. I would be too if I walked in.
I mean, to be fair, so would I. But like, it really wasn't Deadpool being a creep this time, particularly.
Yeah, no, it just kind of happened to Deadpool.
Yeah.
He wanted to play Battleship, like. But yeah, the expression on Luke's face is amazing.
Yeah. And he
they
sort
really
of drags
capture the
Deadpool
hot-
out while Deadpool's doing up his trousers.
Oh, thank you, Carl.
For setting the mood.
Tell me, that's the perfect music for that page.
Yeah,
it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Luke carries off Deadpool because he doesn't want to have to look after Carmelita and Daniel at the same time.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Good luck, Deadpool. This is just in case something bad happens to me." And she kisses him, and then Luke's like, "Crazy girl, he is something bad
Yeah,
happens."
which is great.
Yeah.
And then we meet the three Doug Hennings.
Yeah. So and they're talking about The Godfather, and it's a joke because they're like, "Oh, by all rights, Godfather 3 will be the best one," but
Yeah.
obviously now that it's come out, that it's considered the worst.
And then they obviously make the George Lucas joke.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, he's only made that one good film and that dorky space opera.
Yeah. I'd say as a brief side note, they are actually doing The Godfather Coda, which is like a director's cut of Part 3 or something. So
Oh, nice.
that's interesting. And I think he said, I think Coppola said he was going to change the ending the most, but for me, like the ending was the best part of that movie, so I'm not sure how much that'll really help it. I mean,
I've never seen any of them.
Oh, Carl, you gotta.
I watched them first in the chronological cut.
Really?
Yeah. 1 and
So
2
it started
anyway.
off with like
1 and
part
2.
2.
No, it's they've kind of there's no flashbacks. It sort of plays. When I don't know how old, but my friend had this chronological cut of it where it just plays. It's 1 and 2, but without any flashbacks. It just plays all the scenes in chronological order.
So it would have like Vito and Italy as it did at the start.
Yeah, right. It was quite a while before I went back and watched the originals. And they're both it's both great. I think I don't know why he showed me that one first, but yeah, it doesn't matter. It's still the same story. It's just slightly less of the stylistic way of telling it.
But you can only get it as like a VHS or laser.
It was a VHS. It was when I was old. I'm old. It was a VHS. But yeah, it's just like I think he thought it would be easier for me to understand or something. I mean, we were young, and but I did eventually watch it. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but it was quite a jolt seeing the originals.
Yeah.
Like I'm going, okay, but it was kind of nice because at least I knew the story before I did. But yeah, I actually quite like Godfather 3. I mean, I agree it is the worst of them, but I still quite enjoyed it.
Like 1 and 2 are pretty much flawless.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I think that's the thing is the 1 and 2 are pretty much flawless, so it would always be very hard to do.
Yeah, and the way, especially the way in 2, the way they parallel like the father and son, how
Yeah.
they're different through the flashbacks and stuff. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I liked the Michael parts, or I like the Vito parts," and I'm like, "No, you have to like them all.
Yeah,
it's all one thing." But yeah, you should watch it, Carl. The Godfather is one of those movies where it's like, if you don't like The Godfather 1, I don't know what happened. There's something in your life happened at some point. Because it's such a good movie.
I just don't care for mob stuff, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but it's honestly like,
it's
I put
really
it off for
good,
so
though.
long.
Yeah, I also did as well.
That much. But it's not. It's more about like it's a character story. It's not really, just mobsters and stuff. I mean, I don't want to like say too much, but yeah, just do yourself a favor and watch the first one.
No.
Alright, fine. You like that.
Anyway, big fight.
You're missing out. Yeah, big fight.
AC/DC
Deadpool,
song.
You know, we have the naked, what's her name again? Carmelita or something?
Yeah, Carmelita.
Yes.
Some saucy name in the back, naked, watching them, and then they bust in. Cage is raging, baby. Suck on this. What? So, you know, all sorts of good.
It is a great little fight.
Then the white man's like, kill these heroes that think they're heroes with extreme prejudice. Not cool, white man. Leave racism out of this.
I like how Luke rips a guy's arms off.
Yeah, I was about to get to that.
It's a Deadpool comic. It's a Deadpool comic.
It's really funny, though, because it's like, it's played Power and Iron Fist pretty straight.
Yeah.
And faithful to the comic, and then you just have Luke literally ripping this dude's arm off like he's Chewbacca or something. It's insane. But that's like the only time it really happens. But, you know, it's funny. Especially the guy's face.
Yeah, Danny powers up his fists again.
I mean,
yeah. Because Carmelita's about to be in danger because she's looking for Wade.
Yeah, she really is a ditz. Like, I mean, and obviously that's the point. But she's like, I heard punching. Is Deadpool all right? And like, she just walks into the middle of the battle.
The middle of a fight, as if she couldn't hear it.
So Danny, he charges up the fist, you know, as the gang member closes in on the delicious Carmelita, an icy calm settles over your mind and body, a gathering of the will and the soul, your chi is ready to explode. And then Deadpool comes in and goes, you better split, and just cuts him in half. Bisects him, actually.
Yeah, and she's like, that's cold-blooded. No, it's gross.
Yeah.
And if it happened in front of you, it'd be really gross.
And Iron Fist is kind of like, look, I had him, Deadpool. Plus, when I charge up and don't get to hit something, it starts to hurt.
Which is just hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't even be annoyed that that's never come up before, because it's just so dumb.
Oh, it's amazing. Like,
it's amazingly dumb and such a good sex joke.
Yeah. And it's really amusing, that idea as well. That
it is,
just
yeah.
Hurt him. It's like, come on. So Deadpool proceeds to use a henchman as a shield when the white man fires his staff at him. And then he points out Iron Fist isn't the only one with martial arts training. Then he goes to do a 2-finger strike to his eyes. Then he just blocks it with his staff, and then
Three Stooges maneuver.
Yeah, Deadpool points the staff back under his chin as he fires it, and now the white man is turned to stone. And Luke's like, damn, not even the white man deserves to go like that after ripping some dude's arms off.
Yeah.
And then Deadpool does his best Steve Martin impersonation.
Yeah. And then we have Iron Fist, just, you know, your hand, when it comes to Fist of Iron, you strike. Kapow! And he strikes through this brick wall with this henchman on the other side, and he's like, finally. Got to use it. And, yeah. Anyway, moving on from the obvious metaphor. Yeah. No scarf, thank God.
Yeah.
And it's actually Captain Stacy, although, you know, we don't... I mean, unless you read those comics, you wouldn't know until they point out later. But
yeah.
And Deadpool takes his mask off.
Everyone sees what he looks like.
And she's like, that's disgusting. And then she goes and throws up. And Deadpool is legitimately hurt by the experience. Which is kind of fair enough.
Yeah. Danny says he looks like a candle, which is interesting because in a later Deadpool issue, he goes to, he's filling out his old grudges, and he goes to Danny and says, you said I look like a melting candle. So that's where this insult comes from. But fair, I just like that they reference it again, like that this particular insult. I mean, I think it's another Duggan book, so that kind of makes sense, but it is just, it's very funny when that happens. So. And
Luke Cage says, I thought Deadpool was a brother because Deadpool's costume, I don't think we mentioned it, has a full afro stitch to it.
Yeah.
He keeps talking is like he's a brother as well.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really funny joke that Luke thought the whole time.
Yeah.
But they're much nicer to him than Carmelita though.
Oh yeah.
Even though they don't tolerate him. Don't worry, there are other birds out there for you, Deadpool. Yeah, sorry, brother, who ain't a brother. And then we have Fish, Mr. Fish, getting arrested in the foreground.
Which is great.
I'm reporting you for harassment. I don't think that has anything to do with this. Oh, God.
Now, the funniest part is I think that's Fish from Barney Miller who's arresting him.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Huh. Wow, that is cool. That's a nice spot. See, this is why we need Karl here. Also, that line by Deadpool, it's easier to mask hurt feelings with an actual mask, is funny because that's literally the reason he wears a mask.
Yeah.
Like, that's his entire motivation, is hiding his face. Yeah, he's like, good things are going to start happening for me now. Oh, dear. Luke's like, I can hear you crying.
Yeah.
And then the softball team comes back.
Yeah, and stop beating him up.
He's like, I should have warned you, I've already beaten up one softball team tonight. Two don't make a difference. That was us, we just washed off the makeup. So they beat him up. And it turns out they're going to form a gang.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to act like scary mimes with baseball bats. And so that is the origin for the gang and the Warriors. It's because Deadpool beat them up.
And this is where you learn it's Captain Stacy.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks. You have a good one, Captain Stacy. I always have a good one. How could I not have a good one? I got my health from the greatest daughter in the world. My wife is perfect. Yep. On a side note, when I read about his death, I read all those Spider-Man comics and the Essentials that came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no idea that him and Gwen actually died. So I read that like it was new. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Captain
definitely.
Stacy died to Dr. Octopus, and I was like, holy shit. So yeah. And then the white man
gets put in a museum.
Bought in a police auction and sold his art, and he keeps moving around. Oh no, he doesn't move around. The museum just gets updated.
Yeah.
I love you. You love me. That's not a museum. That's somebody's house.
Right.
Is it?
You are.
Well, look, they have a baby parrot in the middle panel.
Yeah.
It's a full-size parrot, and then it's a dead parrot.
Yeah.
With a portrait of a parrot.
And the TV sets keep getting updated, and the art is off the wall.
Yeah. It's someone's collection.
Why's the Abe Lincoln picture gone? That's weird. But and I love this next thing, Marvel now.
Yeah, I like that as well.
Who spends money on a statue of a pimp? Idiots that get foreclosed on.
Oh,
so they knock him over, and he breaks free. Which, as we'll see later, doesn't happen to the other people who get frozen. They don't break free; they just shatter.
Yeah, they turn into solid stone.
Yeah.
But then he uses his cane and just blows the guts out of the two movers. So.
Yeah. The heroes for hire will pay. Power Man and Iron Fist, and especially their partner Deadpool. Across the town at the home of Luke Cage, he's dreaming. We're not partners.
Yep.
He's having a flashback. So that was issue 13.
A proper classic.
Yeah, it's not only is it a great Deadpool issue, it's a really great Power Man and Iron Fist throwback issue.
Yeah.
Really, really good crossover.
And then we move on to number 14.
Yeah. Did you guys want to have any thoughts of the 13 issue, or because I think the two issues are pretty different, so we can. I just
love it. I think it's such a beautiful, it's such a joyful flashback to 70s comics, where it sort of embraces all the sort of dodginess of the sort of sexism and racism, but you're kind of there with it, laughing at, you're all kind of looking back at it together. There's no sort of nastiness behind it.
Yeah.
And it's not really judging it either. It's just sort of saying this is what it was like.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And there's there is things.
Like you said earlier, I would definitely. This series would kick butt.
Oh yeah. I mean, it does. I think they could play it straight and do a modern series of them.
Oh, I think they could.
I think they'd be able to do it. yeah, it's one, and one book.
I think there should be a 4-issue mini based off of this every year.
Yeah, totally. And from a Deadpool perspective, he's funny, but it also balances the character. You know, he's like really unhappy and stuff. And the Carmelita stuff actually develops if you continue to read this series as well.
Yeah.
Does not go happy places. In fact, you know. But hey, read it for yourself because it's a great run. So.
And the
I
funny
will say,
thing
yeah.
is, the next issue leads right into where most people think this series really took off. So this is a really
The Korea thing.
with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where Cap and Wolverine go to
Yeah,
Korea.
yeah.
Really
So that's
fantastic.
exactly where this. So this is kind of this. The Deadpool arc that's been building. So the 12 issues up to this are really good. And there's some reference to them in issue 14, which is why they might come up. And then you get this really nice little break that kind of breaks up the run, and you're like, huh, what? And then you get into some really heavy Deadpool stuff, like heavy.
It does not pull punches.
No.
Which is why I liked it, because Joe Kelly Deadpool was brutal. Like, it had some really kind of disgusting stuff in there, and Deadpool was not, you know, that good a person, and this series didn't pull its punches either. So highly recommend it.
But it allowed him moments to be good. What I liked about this series, it allowed him a lot of moments to be good, and because he's got what's her name inside him, so he has the kind of moral arguments going on in his head that aren't just with himself this time. So we might explain a bit more of that as we get in here.
The point of Joe Kelly's art is, like, you know, he tries to be a hero, but deep down he's not, whereas this is kind of different. Like, deep down he is good in this at this point, really. But yeah, give the run a read. Kind of Dawson enough. Don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to spoil anything, because it's a run just worth reading.
I absolutely say if you started these 2 issues, like, I really think everyone should read this run because it changed everything I felt about Deadpool.
Yeah, if you like these 2 issues, check out the whole run, and if you're just like an old school Deadpool fan, you know, Joe Kelly and all that stuff, then check out this one as well, because it's really good. And the next run is good apparently as well, that Dugan did, which I have not.
It is good.
read.
It is good.
So
yeah.
It's a follow-up. I think.
I threatened Joe Kelly.
Did you?
Yep.
What did he do to you?
He made me stand in line for 3 hours.
Wait, okay, give us the full story.
Yeah, give us the full context. Yeah.
All right, went to a Boston convention, comic book convention in Boston, Massachusetts, and Joe Kelly was going to be there, and he was supposed to start signing at 11. So me and my friend got in line at like 10. Mm-hmm. And we were literally like third and fourth in line. And his handler kept coming up. He's on his way, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Things are running late. Traffic is bad in Boston, which it is. In Boston, it can literally take you 35 minutes to drive a mile in the city.
You got to say Boston in the accent.
No, I don't. Because I'm not from Massachusetts.
You're all the same to me.
And so now to fill this in, I was working part-time at a comic book store at the time, and we had this huge blowout sale where the owner of the store was just looking to move like mass boxes of backstock that were just taking up too much space. He didn't even care what they were. He just kept marking the prices down, 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 till literally they were like 25 cents an issue. And this one young kid, his name was Luke, he actually later on wound up working at the store, and this is kind of where the whole thing falls into place because it was brought up and chuckled about all the time. Because I didn't really know him other than he was a customer at the store. And there was a couple issues of Deadpool #1, the first series in the boxes, and he was like, what issue should I buy? And I pulled out #1, and I literally said, if you don't buy this issue, I'm going to kick your ass. And he took it from me and all scared, because at the time I think he was like 4'9", and so that was a running gag. That's the first time I talked with Luke. So when Joe Kelly finally showed up, my buddy went before me and then quickly spun around and whipped out his camera. So I actually do have a picture of it. And I went to Joe Kelly, "You're going to sign this comic or I'm going to kick your ass."
What did he say?
And he was just like, "What?" And I'm like, "You made me wait 3 hours. Just sign the book."
What comic was it again?
Deadpool number
Deadpool
1.
1.
Yeah. No, sorry, I spun out because I was, I just wanted to double check. Man, I used to have New Mutants, his first appearance,
I have all that crap.
but I was a kid and I trashed it and it's gone forever.
Well,
So-
don't worry, it's a crap issue.
Yeah, it's still his first appearance. It would have been worth a lot of money. Yeah, love my money.
So the white man is back and he's causing terror in the streets of New York.
I did want to say real quick, you can actually get Poston and Dugan's full run in an omnibus. So that's issues 1 to 45, the Dracula thing, and then Death of Wolverine, the Deadpool and Captain America special. So maybe get that for Christmas or something, guys. I don't know. Yes. This is an awesome cover, by the way.
Yeah, I love it. It's
Like-
another Chris Anker one. This one's very stylish. You've got the
Is it
sort
the
of
same guy?
Yeah. You can tell by Danny's abs. He does a lot of abs. But this is obviously him not doing a 70s style.
Throwback.
Yeah, so he's very well known for drawing abs, so that's why you get the Danny abs.
Like I like this cover better than the last one.
The other one was
But-
like bright white, and this one's really, really dark.
I guess this one's like, aside from the white man at the front, it's like a really serious.
I like
cover.
it as well, and it's all
and
black. It's almost black and white, just with that splash of the pink from the white man's outfit. But this
Yeah,
time it's
and
not
not-
his shirt; it's his tie and a feather in his cap.
Not to be, or general, but they all look badass.
They
in that
do
cover.
look
So-
badass.
Yeah, because they do have those badass poses, mean
Yeah.
looks on their faces, and I like it. Like if I had a picture of just Deadpool, Iron Fist, and Power Man like that, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah. I've got one of the they joined up in some special. I've got that on my wall. So
Which one?
the Power Man, Iron Fist, Daredevil, and Deadpool. It was another dead.
I don't think you've showed me that.
I'll show you sometime.
Yeah, if it's on your wall, take a picture and send it to me.
I will
'cause I'd
do.
like to see it. Thanks. Because I do like Daredevil too. Anyway, yes. So same.
It's the full
Same
same
team as last
team,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to double check. Cool. So I'm not missing anyone. So we get like a front page with a flashback of what's been happening. Hey Marvel and DC, can you guys do that again? Thanks.
This whole run of Deadpool had it, which was great.
Because it's like maybe someone will pick up the issue and want to get into the series, or maybe
Yeah.
it's like, hey, it's been 2 months since the last issue.
Yeah, that's what I really
Right.
like, having a little bit of a this is what's happening.
Yeah. So, we open up with the white man like rampaging and just vaporizing people with or turning him into stone or whatever with his staff,
Mhm.
and they fall over and they shatter into pieces.
And clearly he's
No.
still in his 70s pimp outfit, and everyone else is
Yeah.
now up into
When
their
we're getting-
2000s.
When's Mark Waid doing his miniseries, White Man Out of Time?
Oh, God.
I'm glad you got that. So, yeah. So White Man could hear everything while he was frozen. So he knows about camera phones and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, make
Because
sure you upload this.
Some hipsters on the street recording him saying, "Is this blowing your mind? I'm recording you right now on my phone."
Oh, no, he could still hear while he was there. Jeez, that's hilarious.
That would be hell. Like,
That
would
would
be
be
really
hell.
fucking awful.
Especially if you had to pee the whole time.
hmm
I mean, would we're onto something here, and we won't go into it because it's comic book logic, but like, is it just the outside turn to stone? How do you stay alive? But you're all made of stone.
Yeah, it's
How are
definitely
you made
comic
of stone
book,
and you hear things? Let's just
comic
call
book
it magic.
rubbish.
Yeah. I was going to call it magic, but I guess we can call it rubbish if you're a half-glass empty kind of person. But, yeah, so Why is it so hard for the white man to get a cab in New York City?
It's just it's so great.
Holtz, he still talks like a villain from.
Yeah.
So I love that guy gets vaporized in the cab.
Yeah. And he has to go to the Empire State Building for some reason. But,
Yeah, it's the tallest building in the city, I guess.
it's probably the tallest one he knew about anyway.
The most dramatic. So he's like, years ago, Iron Fist and Power Man and their leader Deadpool froze me. I will start freezing hostages every 10 minutes if the heroes for hire do not come here. This will be the worst day New York's ever seen.
I mean, it's
He's
good
like,
that he
"Worst
knows
day?"
they still exist. Like,
Yeah. Is this guy serious? What about September 11? Oh, yeah. I did
Oh,
hear
yeah.
about that. Dreadful day. This will be one of the worst days New York has ever seen.
No more interruptions, and he freezes them.
Yeah. I love how, Luke's comment on the television spoke to me.
yeah,
Kind of agree with him.
so do I. I like we got little Danny in her little Captain America onesie,
Yeah.
especially as she becomes Cap in 2099 or whichever alternate world
Really?
it is. Yeah, there's one world where Danny Cage takes over as Captain America.
That's strange. But, it's ultimately.
It's kind of cute, It's it's a cute sort of future thing.
So, he's disgruntledly watching this sitcom, and then there's breaking news. So he sees the broadcast.
We're not partners.
Yeah, he's most upset about that, and Danny starts crying, and Jessica's even a bit like, what? I do like that Jessica tells him off for swearing. It's Jessica Jones telling him off for swearing.
Yeah.
But maybe she doesn't swear in front of the baby, who knows?
I think it's a baby thing.
It is a baby. It's a definite baby thing, and it's quite funny, but it doesn't always make me laugh because she's always doing it. And every time it makes me laugh. And
look
then
at Luke and Jessica here, and then look at them in Alias.
Right.
Quite
But also,
different.
then he sends a text to Danny, but on his phone, have you seen the history? There's some
Yeah,
Danny about
yes.
Danny saying that Misty hasn't been in touch, and Luke just says, "Danny, I don't care."
And then it's seen yesterday, 1:03 a.m.
It's so rude.
It made me laugh because this is one of my favorite jokes because Daddy's
you
so
don't care.
whiny about. No, he really is whiny about her all the time, and then Cage is just like, I don't care, and it's seen at 1:03 a.m. and it cracks me up.
Yeah.
But yeah, then he sends him a text saying, "Hey, do you remember the white man? We got to find Deadpool and hustle to the observation deck of the Empire State Building. Then we are, gun emoji, bomb emoji, knife emoji, Deadpool." But why? Deadpool hasn't actually done anything yet.
He hasn't done anything at all.
He could be feeding orphans or something
Yeah.
for all he knows. Luke's a hothead, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, I like how early he goes, "Yeah, shut up, Mary Lou." So.
And then we go to Danny's dojo.
Yeah, which I just want to point out, I really wish they would show him running the dojo more often.
Oh, yeah, I love it. Every time they show it, I love it.
Have they showed it since this?
Yeah, they showed it in one of the they showed it in the most recent run, the Ed Brisson run. Because didn't Misty come to take over because he had to go off to Kunlun or somewhere? He had to go off somewhere,
Right.
and they show Misty training them, and I got a bit mad.
Okay. You got mad that Misty was training them.
I got mad. There's something weird about that issue when they're just they're a bit shitty to each other or something. I don't really remember it now. I just remember that it was a bit
the
annoying.
middle of the run's a bit weak.
Yeah.
The middle section.
But
I
they
thought
definitely
fun
show
of
the
it.
dojo, but I don't really. Yeah.
I know Danny knows all sorts of styles. He knows karate, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu and stuff in addition to Kung Fu. But he's like, okay, I'm leaving and now you'll be learning a different fighting style for a week. Actually, no, I guess it's an extended seminar. So
And it's fine.
But
so he gets the text and the kid, he's like, how are we going to find Deadpool? The kid's like, he's got a Twitter account.
And he's like, oh, you shouldn't be following that.
Yeah.
I don't know how he wouldn't be banned. I guess he's just not posting explicit stuff.
Which
is
seems
unlikely,
unlikely, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, in the old days, I would have had to run all over town and beat people up to find someone. It's almost not fair. And it's so true, because how many issues have we read where we get like a 2-page montage of Danny and Luke roughing up people on the streets to get their information?
But Danny's now in his cool white and gold outfits.
Yeah, this is the white costume here, and honestly, he doesn't look bad the way he's drawn.
Yeah, he's drawn well in this one. Yeah,
I think it's generally considered his worst costume. Right?
Yeah,
Except for
people
that
just seem to
cube one or
dislike
whatever.
it, but it looks good in this.
Because he looks like the White Power Ranger.
I like it, so I don't mind it anyway. But anyway,
Why did you have to point that out? You always do this. You always ruin things for me because you point out.
Because
things
that's
that I
why
can't
everyone
see.
hated it.
Well, now I hate it too. Are you happy?
A picture of the White Power Ranger will be in the show notes.
No, it won't. I can't be bothered. Go Google a White Power Ranger.
Yeah, it's easy enough to
don't
find.
Email me saying, "Where's the White Power Ranger show?" No, I don't care. Yeah. Anyway, Daddy's costume aside,
Yeah,
which I'm going to try and learn to love again. Well, like again.
I
tolerate
think it's
again,
good in this.
whatever.
I think it's good in this issue.
I think they wanted to make him look like more of a superhero.
Yeah,
really.
I think so. And they wanted to get rid of the collar, but just have a whole new style. And I actually don't mind it. So I don't know which.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not my favorite, but I certainly don't hate it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he doesn't really have any bad costumes.
Yeah.
But yeah. So they all the kids want to go with him. He has 3 students there.
And he takes
my
them
parents
'cause
signed
they-
the permission slip.
Yeah, they've got a permission slip. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, permission slip for what? Like,
Yeah, right.
if we have to go clean up the streets, excursion to Kunlun to fight a dragon or something. I don't know. But so we get these pink word boxes, which are basically there was can't remember her name, but she died and ended up inside his head.
Yeah,
Like her
he
consciousness.
he mentions her in the next panel, I think so, because I also couldn't remember her name. But the pink panels are her talking. So
Yeah. And she's
it's Agent Preston.
Like,
Agent
Yeah.
Preston. She died, and her consciousness is in him. Is all you need to know about that.
yeah.
And she acts as a kind of like another sort of so it looks like he's talking to himself, but he's not. He's talking to Agent Preston. And
Yeah.
But she also
And
holds him back a bit. So
I love how Luke's like, how'd you know where to find them? And he said he tweeted that he was putting the dump into the dumpling soup.
You guys now throwing up.
Why? Moving on, I guess I don't even know. I don't know, but he's like, hey, it's my old teammates, Power Man and Iron Fist. We were never a team, but the White Man wants us. And Deadpool's like, the White Man? And one of the funniest things I find is like, none of these guys remember the White Man. Like, not even Deadpool remembers who he is.
like, none of them remember.
That much of a D-lister. Like, but they remember their team up together, but they don't remember him.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't remember what it was about.
Yeah.
Now, does anyone find this wording odd that Danny says? Some guy we braced back in the day?
It means nothing to me. I assumed it was American.
I've
never heard that in my life.
bracing is like, sort of, like this. It has a context which applies to what he's talking about. That makes sense. I can't think of the exact definition right now, but it didn't seem weird to me. But I love how Deadpool's like, what are the kids doing? What are the kids doing here?
Yeah.
So, I was just like, they're my students. Luke didn't tell them you were facing a hostage situation until I was already on the way. Obviously, if this was like not a Deadpool comic, he would have sent the kids home by now, but, and he's like, well, kids, if Iron Fist doesn't want you along for the ride, I'm auditioning for short rounds.
Yeah, and also, like, Deadpool is usually quite nice to kids and remains so.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
in
I
this run particularly, he's quite kid-friendly.
Yeah. And I like how she's like, we're not supposed to talk to strangers. He's like, I'm not a stranger. I'm your Uncle Deadpool.
And then Danny's like, kids, don't talk to him. Don't even listen to him. I love Grumpy Danny. It's like the best.
It's just like, that's the creepiest thing you could say in response. Like, I'm your Uncle Deadpool. But yeah, so they're basically forming out a plan. He's like, Deadpool, you distract the white man, and then they'll never see Power Rhymes is coming. And I like how the agent's like, that brother really does not like him.
Yeah.
Reflection.
So that's exactly what happens. Deadpool goes up to where the hostages are, starts pushing them through by their butts, if they're women.
Yeah. So, of course, Deadpool taking every advantage, inappropriate advantage a superhero would have. And, then the white man sees him and he's like, oh yeah, there's that guy with Stockholm Syndrome. He's like this ordinary dude. He's like, hey, Mr. White Man, one of them's here.
Yeah.
I guess the other guy says, he said if we don't help him, he'll freeze our families.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem very likely to, so.
And he's going, once again, you underestimate the white man. And then Deadpool's like, once again, so he met? It doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, and he gets mad. I
just find it so funny that they just genuinely don't remember him. And then the guy goes, hey, there's more, and then Deadpool throat chops him.
Yeah. And says, shut up, your face. Yeah,
so Danny has to restrain Luke as Deadpool's saying, I'm a solo act now, who needs those other two losers? Alright, so the families are safe, so that's when they decide to bum rush them. But he still has a baby hostage. And, Ivis is like, nothing's going to happen to your baby, so that's up to the white man's greatest foes. Man, we don't even remember you. And,
he's really getting incandescent.
Deadpool is about to take the shot, but the agent is preventing him from doing it.
So that's where it becomes that's where it becomes important to know that that's what's going on with him now.
To be fair, though, I'm pretty sure Deadpool could have taken that shot quite easily.
Yeah, he's a pretty good shot, so...
Yeah. But understandably, the agent would be like, you can't do that with a baby around. So, then we get a pretty cool thing here where he unleashes the full power of the staff. We get like a little solar explosion thing, and the whole top floor of the building blows up, and Deadpool gets flying out the window, and he's mangled on a car below.
And the kids think it's the coolest thing they've ever seen.
Yeah. So, and
you gotta read the girl's description.
Yeah, he fell from the top, but then you fired a grappling hook and swam out to the next building and did a jump and jumped off the other building, and then you hit a flagpole with your nard, so you only fell like most of the way down instead of all the way down. So he did it quite gracefully until he hit the
and he asks if his legs are still on his body.
Yeah.
And the redheaded girl is like, kind of.
So he gets them to they find a trolley thing, upright trolley to tie him to.
Hand trucks, but yeah.
Yeah, so
hand trucks.
Yeah, that's what they're called.
So
they do him up like Hannibal Lecter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they go off on a little tour.
And the agent's like, should we call S.H.I.E.L.D.? No, fine, whatever. No one calls the big guns in.
No,
it very rarely happens.
Yeah.
Just, why is everyone in New York? Anyway.
Yeah.
The tour is the best, though, because the kids are taking him, and it's just like...
The tour's great,
Mike Lane gets beaten back, refused into a peep show.
Yeah.
Buys Italian ice.
It's great.
I will say
fight.
If I was in charge at Marvel, the first thing I would do, besides Iron Fist ongoing, is... And Luke, too. I give him an ongoing because I don't want to leave him out. But I would move people to new places.
Yeah.
People, I'd move like Danny to explicitly Chinatown or just some other, have him in a little bit more. I don't know. I just don't want everyone in New York because there's a lot of cities in the world. There's a lot of cities in America even that, we don't need the F4 and all these people in the same location.
Yeah. But it's great because the kids are like basically taking Deadpool off, and like they're sort of
Yeah.
they're being the heroes really, and like so Danny and Luke are
Yeah,
being
Deadpool's like coaching them.
yeah, they're like encased in stone, and the white man's kind of transporting them and puts them onto a boat, and bizarrely doesn't then hear the kids wheel on Deadpool.
And yeah, that was pretty funny. Like, that would be very noisy.
Yeah.
I like how he's like, mush on you huskies. For some reason, like, Danny and Deadpool are just frozen, like, just standing there.
I think because they've been used the staff.
Danny and Luke.
Yeah, Danny and Luke.
Oh, he used the staff to move them into that position.
And he moved the staff to encase them in stone and then used it to transport them. Because you can see them
Yeah.
floating in the air, so I guess he put
I
them
just
in
thought
that
they'd
position.
be. I thought you'd turn into stone at like the position you got frozen.
Yeah,
'Cause it was like a
I
big
don't,
explosion.
I don't think this is necessarily holds up,
That's
but yeah.
true. That
Yeah.
is true. And what about the other people who were in the explosion? Anyway,
Anyway,
so Deadpool and the kids are on the boat below him, and he
Yeah.
hasn't heard them. And Deadpool's like, I know it seems like a long time, but I'm actually healing pretty fast. Good old Deadpool's inconsistent
Yeah.
healing factor. He's like, pull my finger. It's a medical request. So, you know, the white man...
man's gonna toss them in the river, making them walk the plank and put them on the bottom of the river.
Yeah. And
then Deadpool sicks the kids on the white man.
yeah, he's like, so no wrong answer, but how much kung fu did Danny teach you guys? And they're like,
which is great because he just tells them to let him have it, and they're great. They go do the job.
Get in there, guys. Dead kids walking. Which is great on twofold because it shows that, you know, the daddy's taught them some pretty cool moves.
Yeah.
And it's also a good job because it makes the white man even more of a joke because he got beaten up by a bunch of kids. So,
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, one of them literally just immediately removes the staff,
yeah.
and then one of them kicks him in the nuts.
He
Punches him in the
punches
nuts. Yeah.
It's blubbering time.
Which is great.
Like, ow, my back. Whoops.
And then, yeah, so he gets turned to stone again, or covered in stone again, and falls in the river.
They're like, they'll come
As
fetch
he's
you.
thinking to come in to get me, right? Right?
Yeah.
And he ends up in the
Deadpool's like-
riverbed, yeah.
He's laughing. He's like, A+ work. I'd watch you fight again. And he's like, you're not mad for what? You punched the guy in the nutticles, and then he fell off a boat.
And Preston's like, do not encourage that kind of behaviour.
And then, so the white man's down the bottom. We see Jimmy Hoffa in the background.
Yeah,
Um,
which is great.
At least the white man will never bother anyone
Also,
again.
several spaceships.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, in Marvel New York is probably a pretty regular thing.
Yeah, it's pretty likely, yeah.
Then a
that's
thousand
the-
years later.
The three-eyed fish from The Simpsons is in the back in that last
Yeah.
Yep,
panel.
Blinky.
I didn't
Yeah.
spot that. But yeah, 1 million years into the future. And so this is like the last human, and they can't understand anything, and like, we're going to know nothing from the last known human. So they just put him in a zoo pretty much, and he's dressed as a caveman. And they're just making fun of him, pretty much, all these aliens. In the
Which
zoo.
is great.
The
And
funny
then
part is they release him and he goes, my gentleman's baggage.
And what's funny is that they just go a little while later back at South Street Seaport, like not establishing they're back in the street.
Yeah.
Just 1 million years into the future, and then a little while later.
Yeah.
I think that was deliberate. But...
Yeah, I think it's, yeah. Luke's handing over the staff to the police, and, yeah, they take the kids back.
Yeah.
And then we get the link into what's going to happen next. Deadpool's off with Preston. They go off to eat. This woman comes up to him. There's another little fight. I don't think we should go too much into why or what's going on.
This covers the main plot of
This is
story,
literally
so...
the link into what happens next. But it's a really great story, and read it. And there's lots of comments about like eating liver with a bit of fava beans and
like,
stuff like that. And yeah,
he shoots a chick in the kneecaps and then chops her fingers off. So the comic doesn't hold back on the violence if you're into that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So although their parting isn't as aggressive because Luke goes, goodbye, Deadpool, good luck to you. So
Yeah.
he's not like.
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah.
That's what I like about their team ups. There's friendly, like they jab at each other verbally, but they're great.
Yeah, it's the Iron Fist team up
Yeah.
and Deadpool team up is definitely worth reading. It's like that. I'm trying to think Carl's read either, but he has the issue or he lost it. I don't know. But yeah, so good issues. The first one was better, but this one is still good. Like
Yeah, the first one has that kind of
different.
shtick going for it. It's very different, and
yeah,
it's a definite homage to the 70s.
yeah. But this one was still good. It's
Yeah.
funny, definitely lighter because there's just less text and comic.
Yeah, it's definitely worth reading. This both of them. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, great two-parter. Definitely worth reading if you're a Power Man and Iron Fist fan, and if you're a Deadpool fan, the whole run's worth reading. So, and the next issue is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, really fantastic.
It's terrifyingly good and heartwarming and heart-saddening and changes everything about Deadpool.
Yeah, it is heartwarming, but it's also like the opposite.
Yeah, it's quite grueling.
Yeah. But yeah, so final thoughts on that issue, guys?
I like
Old
that.
stuff until like the last 4 pages.
Yeah, I mean, if you have no idea what's going on in the main run, the last 4. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so next up.
Excellent stuff. It's all about the white man.
Yeah. Damn the white man. So next up we have either 90s Heroes for Hire, starting on that, or we're doing another couple of Power Man and Iron Fist issues. We'll talk about that off air, and we'll let you guys know what we're doing. Might be in a couple of weeks. Might be in 2 weeks, might be later, I'm not sure, because of everyone's like Christmas schedules and stuff, so we'll see how that goes. But, you know us, we're not going anywhere.
We'll get to it eventually.
Oh, and we do have a little bit of feedback for this one, actually, because I put up a discussion thread before we recorded. Let's see. From
and the Spanish superhero movie I was talking about that's on Netflix that has a serial killer that is recreating superheroes' origins and murders is called Unknown Origins. And it's campy, it's badly dubbed, and it's still worth watching.
Yeah.
So the viewer or listener says what?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I got distracted. Well, by you actually. So the from Iron Fist ebooks on Twitter, the only thought in my head is that what's his name again? Chris Anka needs to draw Danny Rand more often.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah, agreed. I really liked the cover arts, and I talked about it quite a lot. So agreed. Thanks very much for the feedback. First time we've gotten any in a while.
Yeah, give us feedback.
Yeah. Maybe I'll post discussion threads before our episodes now in general. Sorry, guys. So yeah, until next time, if we're good to wrap up.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, may your may your fist become unto a thing of iron, and don't trust the white man.
You jive-ass turkeys.
Yeah. The pimp, the white man, not the,
Yeah, we got it.
Just in case.
But anyway.
All right, cool. See yous.
Bye.
Adios.
Iron Fist and all other characters in these comics are properties of Marvel and Disney. Any music or images we use belong to their respective copyright holders. We do this for fun, so please don't sue us. You can contact us at sonsofthedragonpodcast@gmail.com. Just send us mail, comments, thoughts, anything you want really. Doesn't even have to be related to Iron Fist.
If you don't want it read on the air though, make sure you mention that. You can also find us on Facebook, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast, Sons of the Dragon, our Twitter, at Iron Fist Podcast, our SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Sons of the Dragon, hyphens where the spaces are, our YouTube, Connor Carl, just search Iron Fist Podcast and you'll find us real quick. We are also on iTunes. If you find us there, give us a review and rate us. If it's less than 5 stars, please say why so we can improve the show. And we're on Podcast Garden in the literature section, and last but not least, head over to our WordPress, Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast.wordpress.com. That's where I put all the show notes. I'd like to thank Thomas Tissot for composing the Iron Fist theme song we use at the start of our Iron Fist episodes on the podcast. I'd also like to thank Peter John Sikorsky for composing the Power Man and Iron Fist theme we use at the start of our Power Man and Iron Fist episodes. And finally, thanks to you guys for listening.